Ever want to learn how to make one of these adorable granny square heart motifs? Stay tuned to this next episode of Knit for Brains, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it and how to do easy, seamless color change. All right, so here we're going to do the Heartfelt Granny Square. Now, it is considered a beginner's square. I'm going to call it beginner to intermediate because the color changing can be a little bit tricky. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with my pink. And as you know, I always like to start with a magic square. A magic circle. Just because I think it's a little bit neater in the center. Neater as in tidier. So again, I'm going to take both fingers. I'm going to lay my tail across my first two fingers, my index and my pointer finger. Hold it in place with my thumb, bringing it around my fingers, and then I have that cross going across the top of my fingers. Taking my hook, going under that first strand, grabbing a hold of the second one, and pulling it through. Making sure that all of your initial stitches are going to be worked over those two strands. And I'm going to give myself one big, beautiful hook through. Now, we're going to start doing our double crochets. So in order to do that, we're going to do 3 chains. So we've got my 3. Building a basic granny square. So I'm going to do 2 more double crochets for a total of 3. So as I'm doing these double crochets, I want to make sure that I'm working them over those 2 strands because remember, we're going to pull the tail to tighten everything up. So I'm doing 3 double crochets. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do 3 more sets of 3 double crochets, all in this magic circle. So I'm starting off with my square. Chain 1, tighten this up a little bit if you need to. 3 double crochets here, and there's my 3, chain 1. So I've got 1, 2, 3, I need 1 more set of 3 double crochets. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the magic happens as I pull the tail, closing up my square. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet. We've got 1 there, 2, 3, and 4. Now, I'm not going to cut my yarn. I have my first square. My second row is going to be the same color as the first row. We're not going to change color until the 3rd row. From here, I am going to go to my first square, or my first corner. So I'm going to slip stitch over, because by slip stitching I'm just moving the yarn over, but I'm not actually adding stitches. So now I'm over to the corner. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. It looks a little wonky, but it'll straighten itself out. Okay, so now I'm into my first corner. From here, I'm going to do 3 double crochets with a chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets. So there's 1. And there's 2. There's 3. I'm going to chain 1, 3 more double crochets into that corner. And now my corner is done. I'm going to move over into the next corner. I'm not going to put any chains here. I'm just going to go right over here and do the same thing. 3 double crochets with a chain 1, and then another 3 double crochets in this corner. There's 1 and 2, 3. Moving over into the 3rd corner. I find that learning how to read charts is one of the most valuable lessons that I have learned in crochet. So I've got the 3 and 3, so I've got 1 more corner to do. The reason I like reading the charts and learning how to read them is that no matter where a pattern comes from, no matter what language it's written in, I can understand it. Couldn't really find my corner there, could I? There we go. So the charting is universal. In other words, the same things mean the same in whatever list. So if you're doing a double crochet, you know what that pattern looks like. You know what that symbol looks like, as well as a triple double or triple crochet, a single crochet, a half double crochet, pretty much all of them. All right, so I finished my 4 corners and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my double crochet where I started. Okay. Now from here is where it gets a little bit tricky and interesting. I'm going to start in this corner. I'm going to do, now remember, I'm going to move over to this corner. So I'm going to move my yarn along by doing a slip stitch. So there's 1, and then I'm going to go right here just to move my yarn along, but not adding any stitches. This is why we do slip stitches across. Now I'm in my first corner. I'm going to chain 3, because that again represents my first double crochet. I'm going to do 2 more double crochets because I'm making a corner. I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to do 3 more double crochets. Now pay attention, this is where it gets a little tricky. We're going to switch colors. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to do my last triple crochet. Now instead of finishing the stitch and yarning over and pulling through, I'm going to switch colors. And you want to have the 2 strands on your hook. So I'm going to leave it right here. I'm going to grab my second color. And this is how you get a nice seamless color transition. From here, I'm going to bring in my second color and I'm going to finish off that stitch with that new color. And it's a little tricky. Sometimes you have to kind of like, tighten your stitches, maybe do a little bit of a knot to hold it in place, which is how I do it. And then you can always just clip or weave your ends in later. All right, so now I have switched colors. I finished off this stitch right here and I'm starting with the new color. Okay, so now I've finished the 3rd double crochet, but I'm starting with a new color. Here is the trick. We're going to keep the yarns together because I'm going to go back to the blue over in this corner, back to the pink rather, in this corner. So I want the yarn to work with me so it's not pulling along the back. But because I'm moving to the blue, I've got both strands with me here. I'm going to start working the blue, but I'm going to hold the yarn, the pink, close, and I'm going to crochet over it. So now I'm going into that middle stitch. I'm going to do 3 double crochets right here, but I'm taking that pink yarn with me so that when I get back to the corner, I will be able to switch colors. Now from right here, so now I'm on my 3rd double crochet. I'm ending on those last 2 stitches. Now watch. My pink yarn is right here. I'm going to drop that blue yarn and pick up the pink, and I'm going to finish that stitch just like that. Do you see that? Tightening my yarn a little bit. Now I have switched back over to the pink. This is the little tricky part. Okay. Now I'm going to build my corner and I'm going to do it in the pink. But again, I need to bring this blue with me because I'm going to be switching to that again. So I hold it close. You can kind of like run it along the top of the stitches or right along the back side. So I yarn over, I do 3 double crochets here. And I'm going to chain 1, just like I'm building a normal corner. I'm going to do 2 more double crochets and a 3rd. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish this stitch because I want to put pink in this corner here. Okay, so from here I'm just going to keep that blue with me and I'm just going to write, but see, you can't really see because it's all under these stitches here. That's really going to be the key for you. Holding the blue nice and taut against the stitches, I go in and I do the 3 double crochets along the side, just like we've been doing. This is how we do our seamless color changing. Now, from here, even though I'm on the side, I need to do the blue in this corner. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the blue. I'm going to drop my pink yarn behind my work, pick up my blue, and finish off my stitch. And I'm going to tighten the pink here. Now, again, holding the pink now against the work, I'm going to go into this corner and I'm going to do my blue in this corner. 3 double crochets and chain 1. Once you get the hang of it, it's a little bit tricky in the beginning to use 2 strands or even more, but once you get the hang of it, it actually is pretty easy. 3 more double, and it just really opens up the possibilities of all the different stitches that you can do. Okay, now, because I'm starting to build a heart, and you will see the heart evolve here very quickly. Got my 2 double crochets. I'm in my corner. Now, I have to switch color down here at the bottom because I have to get the point of my heart. So from here, I'm going to drop the blue yarn behind my work and pick up my pink. And I'm going to go back in. And then again, if the stitches are too tight, just go ahead and pull them. Get your tension correct. Now I'm working back into my pink. Now from here, I want to have pink into the pointy end or the base of my heart, right, to make that point. So I'm going to go ahead and, now this again is one of those side stitches. So I'm only doing the 3 double crochets here. And I know it looks weird and it might feel a little bit weird, but it's, once you get the hang of it, it's very simple. Now, see, can you start to see how the heart is starting to evolve? Now look, so I actually made a little boo-boo, so I'm going to pull. I don't want to finish that last stitch with the pink because you're going to see the color change in your stitch. I want to pull up my blue because I want to do the blue in the corner just like I did over here. So I'm going to pull up the blue and I'm going to finish that stitch. Again, I can use the pink, pull it to get your tension correct. Holding that pink with you as you move into the corner stitch to do the blue. Doing the 3 double crochets with a chain 1 and the 3 double crochets. And again, I'm holding my yarn with me so that it's actually going under my stitches. Can you see that? So you can't, notice how it's pretty seamless. You can wind in this part, you can weave in this part, but you can't see the color changes. All right. So I've got the 2 double crochets. I'm going to finish this off, making sure that you always carry that yarn with you. Now from here, I need to switch back over to the pink just like I did over here. So once again, I'm going to drop my blue and I'm going to pick up my pink. And I'm going to finish off this stitch using that pink. Tightening my yarn as I go, pulling or holding onto the blue, carrying it along with me. Doing my 3 double crochets in the side space. And now I'm going to slip stitch into my first set of double crochets. Can you see how the heart is already starting to emerge? Pretty cool, right? I love this. Okay. From here, I am going to go into this chain space. So this is going to be the last row where we have the color changes. I'm going to slip stitch to that corner space as we've done before. Remember, moving the yarn along but not adding on stitches. Now I'm into my corner space. Don't forget to carry your yarn with you. Okay, so I'm still using my pink, but again, I want to carry that blue. So sometimes you do have to carry the blue or your second color a little bit farther than you want. And you might notice a little bit of stuff in the back, but for the most part, you can keep it nice and clean. So again, my blue is right here in the back of my stitch. I'm going to go right in here and I'm going to do my 3 double crochets with a chain 1 in my corner space. And remember, to start this, because I slip stitched over to that corner, I did a chain 3, which represented my first double crochet. I'm doing 3 double crochets here, carrying that blue with me in the back of my work, right along the back side there. I've got my 3. Now here again, you want to finish that stitch with that new color, but because I've carried the blue along with me, I bring the yarn back behind me and I start up with the blue. and I finish off that stitch with the blue. Now the blue is going to move into that space. Now, remember how we did this before. So we're going to have 2 blues here on the top, carrying the pink with me now. So I'm going to go right into that space there, 3 double crochets. And if the yarn gets a little bit loose or wonky, you can always just pull on the back and keep your tension nice and even. Now remember, we've got the 2 spaces here holding the pink. I'm going to move in and I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 double crochets of the blue into that second space. Now remember, I'm going to be switching over to the pink, so I'm going to finish up here with my last 3 double crochets. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to switch my yarns, bringing my blue to the back of my work, picking up my pink, finishing off. And then in this corner, I'm going to move into my pink, carrying my blue along with me. So this is how you do seamless color changes and how you can actually have color patterns that work into your granny square. So there's my 3 double crochets. I'm doing the 2 more. One more here. And then because I've got it along the side, just like I did here, I'm going to carry my work with me and do 3 pinks on the side here. There we go. And see, you can really start to see now how the heart is evolving. And that's going to be the last for a little while because I'm going to do the blue all the way around to the backside. But again, I need to carry this yarn with me. So I'm going to draw it past. And sometimes it's a little bit tricky to remember to finish the stitch. So, you might have to redo it a couple times and that's okay. So I'm starting with coming back to my blue, tightening my pink, carrying the pink with me along the back of my work. Moving into the blue here. 3 double crochets here, carrying my pink with me right along the back there. Moving into my corner, carrying the pink. Three double crochets. So we got the 3 and the 3, that's my corner. Now I've pretty much finished off my heart, as you can see, except for the little bit over here. So now I'm really going to predominantly using this blue. And then when I actually come to the top, this is actually the last row where I'm going to be using the pink, and then I'm just switching straight over to the blue, and then it's really easy. It's just a little tricky learning how to change the colors and where to change them. Again, always carrying your work behind you. That is really the secret. This way, I mean, you could cut the yarn as you go along, but then you've got all the ends and it looks really messy. And if you can just learn how to carry your yarn with you and change your color as you go along, I think it's a very useful tool that you'll be able to use quite a bit in your crocheting projects. We're going to be working on what they're called YU bags, and they are made by a tribe of indigenous people out of Panama and Colombia. There's a couple different tribes that do this pattern, and basically they make these beautiful woven bags and they change colors as they go along, and that's how you get these really interesting, like Aztec and intricate patterns. So I finished this corner. Now I'm coming up again. I'm doing one more blue here, carrying my yarn along, my pink along with me. And remember, this is the last part where I'm going to use the pink to finish off the corner of that heart. So see, even I forget, you have to go through here, drop the blue, pick up the pink, finish off that stitch, tighten it, moving into the pink, but carrying the blue along with me. But learning how to do this seamless color change really opens up the possibilities. You can do different tapestry bags or any kind of an intarsic pattern in your crochet patterns. All right, so now I finished. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that heart. There we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut my pink yarn now because I can, keeping my blue as we go along. I'm going to go ahead and completely seal it off, doing the invisible join because I don't need the pink anymore. Now we can see our heart has evolved. Isn't that pretty? And now we're just going to take the blue and finish off the rows. So now I'm working with my blue and we're going to do 3 double crochets into every chain space that we've got. So this is a side space, so we're doing 3. But then I'm going to go move up into my corner where I'm going to do my corner space. So it's right here. Again, not doing any single crochets. I'm going into that corner space, 3 double crochets right here. The only chain one I'm doing is in that corner space to build that nice neat edge for the corner. Chain 1 there, 3 double crochets. There we go. Doing 3 double crochets in the side corner. But again, learning how to change colors seamlessly and basically moving the yarns up and down between your work. You can work with as many colors as you want to, as long as you know just how to work the yarn along. So yes, it does use up more yarn than if you were to be cutting it, but it's really a neater technique than doing all the cutting. And if you screw something up and you got to go back and do it, all you've got is a bunch of these little ends that are running around and you have to weave them all in. So this is really the preferred way of changing colors in your crochet patterns. And it also gives the finished item a little bit more depth because you've got like 3 or 4 yarns going at the same time. So it's going to be a lot thicker and a lot cushier. So the YU bags, they use a series of as many colors as they can, and then they just switch them around. I'll show you at the end of this video what it looks like. We're going to be doing that project in just a second. It's a very, very simple technique once you get the hang of it, but it has the most beautiful, elaborate looking results. It's going to look way more difficult than it actually is. And you want your friends and family to think, wow, you're so talented. And you are very talented. So see, we're just moving along. We put the 2 single crochets along the sides, or I'm sorry, the 3 single crochets rather, along the sides. There's 3. Moving into my corner space where I'm going to do 3 double crochets without splitting my yarn. And chaining 1 to make that nice, neat corner. Making sure that you count, because there's oftentimes I've been guilty of this, is where I put actually 4 double crochets as opposed to 3. So just make sure that that's nice and symmetrical. Moving down along the bottom so you can see the heart is done. Now we're just giving it a little bit more of a border, finishing off the pattern. Oops, as you can see, I missed a spot right there. Silly Kim. There should be 3 double crochets there. 3 double crochets in here. And 3 double crochets in this last corner. One more here. 2 more in here. Isn't this heart adorable? I absolutely love it. Oops. And you can use any combination of colors. So as you see, I started out with just these 2, but you can add them into different Granny Square motifs, you know, using maybe 3 or 4 or 5 colors, whatever you want to do. And then you've got the uniformity of the colors, but all the different patterns just adds a really nice complexity. And it doesn't look too busy because you've got all the same colors running through it. And you don't have to pick up any more pink because we're done with that. And here we go. Oops. And from here, I'm just going to slip stitch into that granny square. So there you go. There is the heart shaped. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of a border. You can do that. You can do it in the same color. You can do it in different colors if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and add one more color around. But this is the heart shaped granny square. So simple. Learning how to change colors. And look, looking at the back, we're just going to, you can see how the pink just runs right along the outsides, weaving in just a couple of the little ends. But you see how that's really nice and seamless? And there you go. Congratulations.